Hello, welcome back to Emperor's Path. My name is SBJ and welcome to the April layout update. Let's get started. So April has been a mix of commission stuff, work, just general life, and also I've done a lot of little bits around the whole layout. So we're going to do the usual thing. We're going to start on the west side, the canal side, and we're going to work our way around the layout, and I'm going to talk about all the things that I've done here. If you missed it, during the last month I managed to get one of the big sets of commissions out of my door, which means that I've been able to not relax to the point where I'm not doing work, but I found I was using a lot of my spare time to do those particular commissions because they were so big. Now I can actually spend time with my family, and I can do commission work and do normal life stuff, and still I can now find that balance. If you're interested in seeing the finished South West Trains project, you can click up here somewhere. There'll be a little do's and what's it that you can click and go and view that video if you haven't already. So starting on the west or the left side of the layout, those of you who are new here, anytime I talk about the left-west side of the layout, that is if I'm standing looking at the station area, which is the main focal point of my layout, the west side will be on the left and the east side will be on the right. So starting on the west side of the layout, I've not really touched the entrance to the layout on the scenic side of things that much. I've done a little bit of tidying up, but nothing massive. The most amount of work is down on the far end of this section, so on the corner that leads into the station. I've managed to build up a section, which I did in a previous vlog, and allow so that it can sort of break the scene up a little bit. And what I've done is I've put walls, bridges and bits like that on there. At the moment I've managed to put brickwork on the trackside parts of it and started to get that painted up. I've also worked on some of the ballasting around the area and got that worked on, and I've used a little bit of tiling grout to sort of add a little bit of texture in between the tracks without making it seem either too gravelly or like it's just wood. So I've used a little bit of that mixed with some grey paint and some black paint to sort of change the colours up as and around the layout. The section that you see on top here is the bridge section. Originally I was going to have it so that these were separate bridges, but what I've decided to do is I'm going to put some shops and bits and bobs up here just to add something to that particular corner of the layout. It doesn't resemble what's at Fratton or anything in that sort of shape or form, but it was something that I wanted to do to add some of the modelling in there. So as we go on from the coming up to 2 years that this layout's been in the works, the side of it that's going away from Fratton is massive. It's not what I anticipated when I started this project, but I'm happy with it because it's allowing me to be a little bit more flexible on what I can and can't put in here. So this corner, I'm really happy with it. It's a really nice scenic break section now. I can film trains coming out of the little underpass tunnel section, and I can also film them coming out towards the station. It's a really nice look. Over the next couple of months I'm going to be working on the bridge girder sections. I'm going to get those painted up and I'm going to get all the brickwork done as well, and I want it to sort of, nothing is fully finished on this layout at the moment, but I want it to start looking finished, and I can then start adding little bits and bobs as we go along. So moving into the main station area, the big thing that I've done in the last month is I've got the platforms, some texture on the top, so I use tiling grout once again with that, mixed with a little bit of black acrylic paint, mixed it up, and I made it almost so it was paintable, and I've basically used it to add texture to the top of the platforms, and then once that had cured, dried, hardened, I went over it with some black and grey acrylic paints to darken it a little bit, to make it look a little bit more like tarmac. It feels like I mention him in every single video, but NSE Latchmere, thank you very much for giving me the tip of getting a white paint pen. I've got one of those in the post, and that'll allow me to do the platform edges along here. With that, I've also glued the platforms down so that I could start doing the ballasting, because that was something that made me feel like this is a really untidy section. So I've glued the platforms in place now. Now that I'm happy with the sizes, I've got the textured brick on the side, they can now be put into place, and I'm happy with that. I've started ballasting in these sections as well, not all of them. What I wanted to do is I wanted to try and do it so that I could do 1 or 2 sides of it, let that dry, but it still allows me to run trains through platforms 1 and 2. Then what I'll do is, once the 2 behind me have cured, I'll then be able to work on the other platforms, and I want it so that I can at least run 1 train around the layout, and to do that I needed to basically only do certain parts. Once this is all dried, I think one of the big things I'll be doing over the next month is airbrushing and weathering the tracks and the ballast, because to me that's when it looks and feels a lot more better. It feels like it sits better with me. I feel sometimes when it's just ballast, whilst you can see perfectly pristine ballast on the railways, I like things dirty. So for me, I'm going to airbrush the tracks as well. So this station area has it's undergone one change that I've not mentioned yet. So I've basically taken out the shuttle system chip, which was under the tracks. That ran on DC, and that used to run my bubble car up into the tunnel, sit and wait for a little bit, and then come back out again. I wanted to put in something like carriage sidings or stabling yards and stuff like that, so that I could just have a little bit more scenic, so you can have more coaches, more wagons and stuff like that, because I find that with the size of my fiddle yard, it's not necessarily it doesn't allow me to hold all the trains and stock that I have, and that's a bit of a shame. So having somewhere where I can store some of the stock if I need to, so it reminds me that's there, and I can sort of flip it out between the other stock. What this has also allowed me to do is that final platform, I've put a Y-shaped point in there so that I can put in a DCC shuttle system now, so hopefully I can have a 2-car or the bubble car basically go into that platform, then work its way all the way back down, back into the tunnel, and still have that element. I don't want it to, I'm not going to be using the sidings as actual shunting yards because it's impractical with how I've laid them out, but I put the idea that off scene is where a lot of the ability to do the shunting would be, but then they're just there so that I've got somewhere to put some locos on there. So the shuttle system's gone. I'm going to be using that on another project somewhere in the future, and yeah, I need to get some more cork and put an extra siding, but I've basically put in 2 extra sidings because of it, which allows me to put in nice long ballast trains and stuff like that. Throughout this section, I've done the same thing with the tile and grout, just to add a little bit of texture in between the tracks, hopefully make it look a little bit better. I'm going to use paints and airbrushing to sort of weather it in and make it look a little bit more uniform, but it allows me to meet the ballast without having to have ballast everywhere, and it breaks that up a little bit. That's another thing that's probably last on my list of things to do in this area, but it's now in there so I can start working on it as and when. If you're new here, what I tend to do is if I'm building something that requires drying time, I then go and move to something else and then come back to it. Sometimes it's the next day, sometimes it's months later. I've also shortened platform 1. When I put in the new platform system, I made it really long so that I could accommodate massive trains here, but I actually decided I didn't want that. So what I've done is I've shortened the platform so it's similar to the other platforms here, for no other reason other than I think it looks better. I know Fratham, for example, does have it where it goes up a lot longer than other platforms up there, but it does allow me to just basically have something a little bit more uniform, and I've got that little bit of extra space to do more scenics further down the line. The tunnel and bridge system here, nothing's really changed on here, so we're going to move further around and we're going to have a look at this area, which last time you saw it was probably either polystyrene or it was covered in plaster bandage. Now it is covered in plaster bandage, a mixture of grout, polyfiller, brown paint and stuff like that. So what I've done is I've added a lot of texture and colour to this area so that it once again tries to tie it in. There are some imperfections where I'm going to come in with some the Sculptor Mold stuff, just to sort of add a little bit more flowing hills in certain sections, but I wanted to paint this up so it looked like it fitted in with the area. This is the area that's going to be the most green on the layout. So modelling this based on the bridge just after you come on to Portsea Island, there's a bridge that was part of the old fort and is now it's massively overgrown. There's some fantastic shots of it, but I basically just wanted to make it green, completely like covered in trees and stuff. So that's a project that I'm not looking forward to. I don't enjoy doing trees. I've tried it once and it wasn't fun for me, but I will crack on with it eventually. Other little jobs that I've got coming up consist of completing the third rail. I've got the packs sat separately, and I guess I kind of need to do those before I weather the track, so actually that's probably the next task. I'm going to get those bits done just so the third rail for me makes the layout seem really not authentic. It creates more of an atmosphere for me, and that's part of the layout that I really enjoy. So yeah, doing third rails probably next on the list, really. It's probably not what I want to do, but it's probably what I should do next. So yeah, I'll be working on that as well. So coming to the end of this video, I guess it's probably worth saying that the things that I need to do next are third rail, platform edging, and weathering the track. I guess like they're the ones that make me feel areas are sort of coming together. There's a lot of shiny track from where I've changed certain parts of the track work over the last couple of years as well, that were put in after I'd already weathered track, so that needs working on. As always, if you're interested in getting a commission from myself, you can drop me a message on Facebook or Instagram. Instagram is probably the easiest way to get hold of me, and we can talk prices, what you want and what it is that you're after, whether that's weathering commission or repaints commission. Just bear in mind that it is a 6-month wait. However, the earlier you get the bits to me, it means that if a space does open up, I can just start work early on it, so bear that in mind. If you're interested, I do have some brand new t-shirts on my web store, which will be in the links below. You can get the one of me riding a train, or you can get the Do You Even Slam Door, which was created by my friend Ben. I will leave a link in the description below for his stuff, because he very kindly made me that t-shirt without me even needing to ask, so thank you so much, Ben. If you've got this far in the video and you haven't already, please click the subscribe button. It does massively help me out. Likewise, if you want to say anything about the work that you have seen in this video, previous work, or anything you'd like to see in the future, please leave a comment down below, because that also massively helps. I guess I'll see you guys very soon with the next video. I know that a couple of people have asked me to do a third rail tutorial, so that will probably be one of the next ones that comes out. As and when, I don't know. We're freestyling this, but thank you very much for watching. I've been SBJ. Bye!